Buddha Chinaski says, sometimes you have to take a step or two back, retreat, take a month off, don't do anything, don't want to do anything. Peace is paramount, pace is paramount. Whatever you want, you aren't going to get it by trying too hard. Take 10 years off, you'll be stronger. Take 20 years off, you'll be much stronger. There's nothing to win anyhow. And remember, the second best thing in the world is a good night's sleep, and the best, a gentle death. Meanwhile, pay your gas bill, if you can, and stay out of arguments with the wife. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you guys come in. That was just a little poem by Charles Bukowski, sifting through the madness for the word, the line, the way. Welcome to Bitcoin Talk Show. My name is Thomas Hunt. Today is June 22nd, 2018, 7:30 a.m. on the West Coast. I just want to talk about books first before we get into it. I read this book yesterday. Pretty cool book by Chuck, I don't know how to say his name still, Palahniuk. This is the guy that wrote Fight Club. This is a very cool book. It's about a 13-year-old little girl goes to hell. You get to hear Palahniuk's version of hell, what he's going on with. Also, it has kind of a Breakfast Club vibe. She's there with a jock, a nerd, a popular girl, a punk rocker, and they're going through an adventure in hell. The second half is a little marauding armies of hell, kind of thing. He says he's going to write more of them. I kind of hope he doesn't. I hope that he's too busy. The guy seems to write about a book a year. I've read probably 8 out of 10. They're all kind of the same. They have a twist ending. Fight Club is probably his best. But let's get on with it. Let's do some Bitcoin talk show. I had a great time yesterday with the Las Vegas Bitcoin meetup. Check it out. We started small about 4 weeks ago, just having a weekly meetup at a various bar or a pizza place, something like that. And now we're finally starting to grow. So thanks so much for everybody that came to the meetup. We hung out at the pizza place, had some pizza, good times. And we'll be meeting again on Thursday, probably at this place called Distill, but I haven't made the meetup announcement yet. I'll make it soon. If you're in the Las Vegas area, please join us at bitcoinlasvegas.org. The price of Bitcoin was down 7.9% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 6,192, a high of 6,748, and a low of 6,104. That's $1 for 16,164 Satoshis. We've passed over the 15,000 Satoshi barrier. Looks like we might be on our way back to 20K, but no one knows. Bitcoin tumbles 9% after Japan watchdog orders exchanges to beef up practices against money laundering. This is allegedly the reason, but it's more likely that the Bitcoin price fell because we're in a bear market and it's been falling all year. As it says here, the order led Bitflyer, the largest crypto exchange in Japan, to suspend the creation of new accounts while it makes improvements to its business. And again, this is a temporary suspension, but if you're into overreacting, it's a great time to overreact, although it might just be bearish movement. The agency gave the same order to 5 other exchanges after finding weaknesses in their money laundering controls. Remember, money laundering was a law invented in the 1970s to fight drug cartels. Basically, it says that you don't have the right to move your money around, that you lack financial freedom. One of the nice things about Bitcoin, real Bitcoin that you hold in your own wallet, not in an exchange, is that you own it and you can decide where to send it and no one can stop you. It's pretty nice. Bitcoin eyes bear revival after key support breached. More analysis from CoinDesk. Bitcoin's bears may be building for a strong comeback, having pushed prices to an 8-day low below $6,300 early on Friday. The price fell to $6,286 on Bitfinex, the lowest level since June 14th. And at press time, allegedly, it was 6,326. Now we've seen it fall even lower to 6,180. Let's go straight to the view. Bitcoin will likely find acceptance below the intermediate support of 6,000, the February low over the weekend, and could drop to 5,090, the target for the measured height method, over the next couple of weeks. A daily close above 6,850 would abort the immediate bearish view. A high volume break above the 50-week moving average, currently located at 6,958, would signal long-term bearish invalidation. Not sure that's happening. Mt. Gox to enter civil rehabilitation in major win for creditors. But do they have any Bitcoin yet? The bankruptcy proceedings have been paused and a civil rehabilitation process will commence. This has got to be the funniest bankruptcy in history. At one point, Mt. Gox was completely underwater, having been hacked, lost much of their customer funds, perhaps even due to irresponsibility and liable fault. Meanwhile, they held a pile of Bitcoins. The price of Bitcoin just kept rising, and now it seems that Mt. Gox will actually be able to pay off their creditors, at least in the dollar amount of losses, because of the amazing rise of Bitcoin. Amazing. They're even saying that after the money's paid back, Mark Karpelès might still have $1 billion and might try to restart the company. It's absolutely crazy. And the fact that they've shifted it from bankruptcy to civil rehabilitation is probably because of the change in these values. They're no longer bankrupt. This is an amazing story. If any of the early Ponzi schemes had had the good sense to hold their Bitcoin, they could have done this too. They could have come around and said, as it turns out, we actually have the money. That's amazing. We're keeping an eye on the exciting Bank Information Services, the BIS report. They're saying that Bitcoin could blow up the internet. It could blow up the internet. It's causing the price to plummet. It's less volatile. And finally, it's the final nail in the Bitcoin coffin. That's right. It's all over. Bitcoin's dead again. Give up. Go home. It's over. Of course, we've seen more than 300 Bitcoin obituaries thanks to the website 99 Bitcoin. 300 times Bitcoin has died. The report said, Bitcoin alone uses as much electricity as Switzerland. How much money do you think the banks use? How much energy do you think it uses to have driving cars and armored cars and tellers everywhere and ATM machines? How much do you think the banks lose? Talking too much. Need some water. We're talking about the same stories from yesterday. We're talking about the Tether review. Tether says that everything's fine, but they can't find an accountant to prove that. Tether says there are no accountants qualified to handle a business such as Tether, so they've released a report by their lawyers. The report claims that Tether was fully solvent on June the 1st. The report does not claim that Tether was solvent before or after June the 1st, only June the 1st. The report also claims that they can confirm that the funds are in an account of a person not controlled by Tether. It's a very strange report by the law firm. We don't have any more information than what was contained in this article. You have to make up your own mind whether or not you think that Tether is fully backed. We also are following the news that was once breaking and no longer is. Bithumb, the South Korean exchange, was hacked for $30 million in cryptocurrency. The second exchange to go down this week following BitGrail, which was seized by the Italian government after being hacked for more than $170 million in cryptocurrency. As always, with both of these hacks, we have no idea what went on inside the exchange. It's literally a black box. It could be employee malfeasance. It could be collusion with the upper heads. It could be a hacker. We don't know. The money's gone once again, and it's telling you once again not to store your money in exchanges. Store your money in a Trezor or a Ledger in a Bitcoin wallet that you control, and avoid this nonsense of losing your money on exchanges. It's just going to keep happening. Everyone comes along to Bitcoin, finds this wonderful secure system and says, how can I make money on that? Well, I can't print the money, so I'll have to attach a centralized service to Bitcoin. My centralized service will be the best centralized service ever attached to Bitcoin. But it will have all the problems of every other centralized service. It will bring up the very reason that people made Bitcoin in the first place, and it will remind you of the value of Bitcoin. Every centralized service does this, and they all end up failing because a centralized service is a single point of failure, or maybe even many points of failure. Keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin, it's $6,156. Seems to be stair-stepping down with a small drop to 66.43, a larger drop to 63.25, and then one more drop to $6,085 before recovering slightly to 6,193. And now no one knows. As always, if you like this show, you could donate now to the QR code on your screen. Send $5, $10. Use Bitcoin. It's fun. SegWit address included. We didn't get any donations yesterday, but thanks so much to our recent donors on 620 who donated 0.00074,205 and 0.0008. We'd also like to thank our Patreons on the Mad Bitcoins Patreon account and the World Crypto Network Patreon account for supporting this show, even in hard times. Remember, you can donate to these Patreon accounts just by subscribing with your credit card, as little as $2 a month or more. Choose your own amount. Pay at patreon.com to support independent creators who don't do ICOs and other scams. Later in the show, I'll be doing a short reading of my novel, To Satoshi with Love. It's a fun novel about Satoshi possibly being a pink space alien. It's fun and light, and I think we've been having a good time with it. I'll do a little recap before I read it, so if you haven't been keeping up with it, we'll bring you back to speed. Meanwhile, on Twitter, we've got the same analysis from CoinDesk Markets saying that there's been a pennant breakdown in Bitcoin, that acceptance is below the 61.8 Fibonacci line and the 50-week moving average. The 5-week and the 10-week moving average are both trending south. The RSI is bearish biased. Say that 10 times fast. No sign of oversold conditions. Below $6,000. The major support is seen at $4,550, the 100-week moving average. A move above the 50-week moving average would abort the bearish view. We're keeping an eye on Twitter. Not much else is going on, but this is Bitcoin Talk Show. This guy's content is weak. You're banned. All right. You can go ahead and call us now live on World Crypto Network, all one word on Skype. Give us a call. Let us know what you think of the price going up and now the price going down. We're keeping an eye on Bitcoin. Looks like it's 61.74, up a little bit from 61.50. But still, do you think it will go higher? Do you think it will go lower? Let us know by calling in now on World Crypto Network, all one word on Skype. And if there are no calls, I'll likely go to reading a book or something like that. We currently don't accept Nano for donations. I'm not too big into the altcoins, but I do want to try to accept some in the future. I was able to activate some of the wallets in Trezor. I think that'll be a nice, easy way to accept some altcoins, and then I'll be able to hold them offline, not on an exchange, no matter the large or the small value of donations. Thanks so much to Check Your Six for the super chat, $2. Thanks so much. People in the chat are asking, what happened to Chris Ellis? As far as I know, Chris Ellis is doing good. He still has that kind of problem with the ringing in his ears. I think that's led him to not do a lot of YouTube videos, and he can't really communicate because he can't wear headphones. So that's a real problem. But I hope that he's doing well and that he's doing better. I did read on Twitter recently that he got a new job working for Digital Bitbox. They make Bitcoin nodes and Bitcoin hardware wallets based out of Europe. I haven't got a chance to try one yet, but I think they look super cool. And I hope Chris is doing well. I also know he had some tough times on social media and decided to take a break from social media. So he's not really around on Twitter like he used to be. But we wish Chris all the best, and we hope he's doing well. And yeah, there's just a lot of people in Bitcoin that come and go, and they get involved in other projects, and they get really busy, and then we don't see them as much as we'd like to. So that's just a lot of people with a lot of things to do. If you don't know who Chris Ellis is, you could go back in the archives and watch some of his videos. He's done some called Bitcoin Before Coffee. He did kind of a weekly show for us for a while. He was on a lot of the Bitcoin groups and a lot of the early live chats. I don't know if you guys know, but the World Crypto Network has been covering Bitcoin for over 4 years. Myself, I've been covering it for over 5 years on the Mad Bitcoins channel and on the World Crypto Network. We covered the Mt. Gox collapse live. We covered the first Senate hearing live. We covered the Bcash fork live. We covered SegWit live. So you can check all these out in the World Crypto Network archives below. Some of them are very long shows. You might want to listen in the background, or a lot of people like to listen on audio podcasts, and then they speed up the broadcast. That's not something I can do here. I have to talk at a normal pace. But if you listen to me back and you make me go faster, boy, do I sound fast and smart. Smart and fast. But we're hanging out here looking for some callers. I wanted to make sure to turn on this show early this morning so we could talk about the price going down. People in the chat are a little bummed. Some of them are blaming the Japanese or the Japanese regulators for this price down. But it seems very likely this is probably just more of the bearish market. A while ago when it popped to 6,800, I was excited, as I always am, but I did have kind of a feeling that this might be a short-lived rise and that we might go right back down. Of course, I didn't make any good sells or any good buys or anything, but that's the feeling that I had. So, have your own feelings, make your own moves. The advice I'm giving everyone now is to do things with percentages. So if you're freaking out now and you're about to go 100% out, maybe you should go 90% out. Keep 10% in there. If you think this is a great time to buy, you're on the other side, maybe put 10% in, put 20% in, put $100 in a week. Do some dollar cost averaging. I really think that's the best way to go. It's going to give you the best price over time because no one really knows if it's going up or down. $100 today could be a good buy. $100 next week might be a better buy, might be a worse buy. No one knows, but dollar cost averaging is a good strategy if you're getting in. I think it's also a good strategy if you're getting out. Sell percentages. But we're keeping an eye on things here, seeing if I have any books to read. Hate to do that to you, but if there are no calls, what else can we do? We could skip ahead to the reading of To Satoshi with Love. Seems a little fast for that, though. So we'll just type this into the chat that people can call us now on Skype, World Crypto Network. And if they call in, we'll do some call-ins. And if not, we'll try to keep this open at least till 8 o'clock. We do have the Bitcoin group coming in later today at 1 o'clock on Pacific time. We've got Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, and Gabriel D. Vine will be joining us to discuss this week's issues in Bitcoin. And we might have Andy Hoffman as well. He's a maybe. But we try to schedule the show every week. It's harder and harder when I do these long shows sitting here all day. But I like doing it every week, and it's good to have a routine. One of the reasons why, and it's why our Bitcoin meetup is starting to become a success, and I believe is going to be a success, is because we're willing, at least I am, I'm willing to meet every week. I'm willing to go to an empty bar or an empty restaurant and meet 2 or 3 people that are into Bitcoin until we can get 10 people, until we can get 20 people, until we can get a whole meetup going out here in Las Vegas. And I know there's other Bitcoin meetups in Las Vegas, but unfortunately, they've kind of been taken over by Bcashers. So I'm going to let them have their meetup, much respect, and I'm just working on my own meetup. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, got to plug that microphone in.
Hey, Thomas.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name and where are you calling from? Although I think I know who you are.
From Prague and the Blockchain Hotel.
Oh yeah, how's it going, Nindy? We're on some kind of delay, maybe.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but there might be a delay. Maybe just make a statement or ask us a question.
So yeah, I just want to make a statement. I think the price has been pushed down by big institutions that want to buy in, and I don't think people should be really too scared about the price going much further down, and they should be strong and hodl.
All right, good message, Nindy. How are things going over there in the UK? Things all right?
Yeah, very well. There's a real strong crypto community in the UK, and more people are joining, and more people are realizing that the fiat system is not the way to go forward, and crypto is the future. And it's I think it's a bright future.
Nice. I definitely found Bitcoin to be useful while I was visiting Europe. Though a lot of countries are on the euro, eventually you go somewhere like Prague or Budapest or even England and the UK where they don't have the euro anymore and you'll have to switch your currency a bunch of times. But if you got Bitcoin, you're all good. Also, if you meet friends there, you could always trade, a couple $100 for some local currency, that kind of thing. You never have to use one of those money exchanges anymore. You just carry a little bit of Bitcoin.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Will you be attending the Hackers Conference this year?
It's definitely in my plans. I don't have a plane ticket or a plan yet of where to stay. I'm kind of hoping I could recreate my trip from last year, go around and visit a lot of the same places and a lot of the same people, and try to end my trip like I did last year, kind of in Prague at the HCPP Hacker Conference. They are still holding our wall from last year. So I got to get Crypto HW Wallet to sign on again as a sponsor because he's already on the wall. And hopefully Tone will be there and Jimmy will be there. I think they're both speaking. So maybe they'll have a little bit of time to come by for an interview. But otherwise, I had a great time last year at HCPP. We were able to interview pretty much everybody that spoke. Adam Back, Peter Todd, that guy who wrote The Assassination Markets. Very interesting, kind of terrifying gentleman. And it was really great to be there. There was a masked man that we interviewed, Mr. Smuggler. He was a character, much more down to earth than you would think a masked man to be. But yeah, I had just had a great time last year in Prague. A beautiful city, castles, bridges, secret Russian agents infiltrating the convention. It just has everything. So
Yeah, well, you'll have to come to the UK this time as well. Tone was with us last week. Tone Vase.
oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to go to the UK. A lot of stuff I'd like to see there. Just not enough time. And then, I did a big move here. I moved from San Francisco to Sacramento and then Sacramento to Vegas. And I'm just, head still spinning from all these moves. So it's great to try to spend a couple of months at home. So
Fantastic. Okay, man, you're doing a great job as always, and I'll see you soon.
thanks so much, Nind. I hope to see you again soon, man.
See you later. Cheers. Bye.
Give us a call anytime. That was my friend Nind. I met him last year at the Prague and the hacker conferences over in Europe. I've never been to Europe before last year, but I had a great trip. I got to see a lot of stuff. Personally, I have a history degree, so I'm very much into Europe and history and anything old, anything over 1,000 years. I'm like, oh, it's so old. Because, in America, nothing, some things are, but not made by Americans. Well, Native Americans, maybe. But thanks so much to We Smoke Bitcoins in the chat. Gave us a $25 super chat. He says, smoke weed in Vegas. And it is interesting. They have legalized recreational marijuana in the state of Nevada, as well as California, Colorado, maybe a couple of other states. It is starting to go along. And we did see recently in Canada, they're going to try to legalize marijuana in the entire country. So we might see some actual hemp products coming out then. Hemp concrete you can use to make buildings. Hemp you can make your clothing out of. Hemp you can make paper that lasts forever. Why hasn't the Constitution turned to dust? Because it's written on hemp. If it was written on cotton, it'd be gone now. I hate to tell you that, but you can go read the history. It's all up to you. Sun in the chat says legalizing it in Canada means that laws will attack us now. That might be possible. I mean, can you imagine if Canada was just selling weed to every state on the United States border? Maybe Trump's building the wall in the wrong place. But remember, Mexico used to bring it in quite a lot too, and they still have tunnels and catapults and a variety of other things. But I think that the local production caused by legalization is ruining their drug markets. It's ruining these cartels, and that's what we always said. Whether or not you like marijuana, you can clearly tell adults should be able to do what adults want. Otherwise, they're going to get it from somewhere. Giving marijuana to the drug cartels gave them a gateway drug, gave them a way to sell you worse drugs later. Now they're taking that away from them. It's going back to be more like alcohol. So I think that's great. Keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin at $6,180. I could still get that pinball table. There's a virtual pinball table they announced recently. The low version's like 4K, the high version's like 6K. I could still freak out now. Get that pinball table. I don't know. Thinking about it. Like I said earlier, I have gone 70-30. I am mostly out of this market. I like Nin's optimism. I like the other hodlers. I think if you've been investing properly and you just have this as a side hodl, this is retirement money. You don't need this for 5 years, 2 years, something like that. You're all good. Just hold through this. Keep dollar cost averaging. Keep making more buys at the same value. So if you're buying $100 a week, keep buying $100 a week. If it goes down lower, you'll get better buys. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from? Oh, got to turn your speaker down.
How you doing?
Doing good. What's your name and where are you calling from? Oh, can you hear us? Might need to get headphones or something. All right, well, give us a call back if you get the audio sorted out. Thanks so much. And you can give us a call now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. Be sure to turn your speaker down beforehand. You might need headphones, depending on what kind of room you're in and so forth. Otherwise, we're going to echo. But if you've got headphones, a microphone, quiet room, maybe even a glass of water, give us a call now on Skype, World Crypto Network. Or I'll read. I'm serious. I'll read. I don't like to do that. Actually, I do. I love to read. I'd rather be reading now. I could get another book in. Actually, I'm supposed to be reading this. So you threaten the reading, you get the calls. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Thomas. This is Joe from England.
Hey, Jerry. How's it going? What's your thoughts about Bitcoin today?
Hanging in there, man.
Yeah. It's a rough one. We might go lower. A lot of people are saying we might break 5,000.
That doesn't matter, man. We've been into it so long now. We're not giving up.
There you go. That's the spirit. Are you doing that dollar cost averaging, just getting a reasonable amount each week?
Not really, mate. I got in there quite early and sort of just always been committed and definitely interested in just hanging in there. You know, the price isn't important. This is something bigger than just the price from day to day, and I'd encourage everybody to take the opportunity to buy in. It's a great opportunity right now.
Definitely. I think it's all about the technology and learning how to use the technology. If you know how to use Bitcoin, you can teach other people. There'll be times in the future where you'll have to use Bitcoin and you'll be ready. So I think it's always a good time to learn about Bitcoin, get your hands on a little bit. Of course, we want to warn everybody not to invest more than they can afford to lose, to do dollar cost averaging, to keep your job, these kinds of things. Important.
You're absolutely right, mate. I mean, the whole point of what we're doing over in the UK, I was inspired by Nin phoning. You know, we've chatted in the past because we organised Bithumb last year in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
We hope that you'd be there. But, you know, the whole point of that show was about education. and to get people into the technology behind Bitcoin, because that's the really important thing. And there's a huge job to do in terms of educating people right now, so they understand exactly, you know, what the risks are, how much it's important to look after your own private keys, how it's important to, you know, invest wisely. And you know, that's something that we've really put a lot of emphasis on. You know, there's a great scene here in the UK. If you've ever managed to make it over to CoinFest in Manchester, it's just a superb scene there. You know, we were all up there, NIND included, a whole load of guys from Germany, all the people that you would have met on the European tour. And, you know, it's a great scene. It'd be great to get you over here soon, man.
It does sound cool. I would like to go to England soon. It's just so far. But what was great I found in Europe is what, like you said, was true. I really did see the same crew at every event. So I would go to Essen, that crew would be there, the same guys from Paris, and then we all moved on to Prague together. And it was great to keep seeing the same guys and to see the way that even if you're in different countries there, they're practically like states here, and the way that everyone worked together and had a positive attitude about Bitcoin. But I really agree with you that it is education. Education is what's important, and it can be really hard. I found a lot of Bitcoin meetups are more about ICOs and more about people making profit and all their kind of dreams of avarice and things. And maybe you just want to talk about the Lightning Network and talk about how cool it is that Bitcoin works at all, that you can send money around at all on the internet. It's pretty amazing without a middleman. So it's good that we have people out there talking about this and spreading the word.
We've been doing courses on Lightning Network, basically all of the technology behind Bitcoin, and really focusing on the education part, because that's the biggest challenge. And, you know, it's notable that a lot of people are turning up and they're attracted to the scene because they think it's a way of making money. Mm-hmm. And we're really big on trying to get people into the fundamentals behind this technology. That's the emphasis of virtually everybody that's on the scene in the UK. And, you know, we really admire what you're doing over there. It's a great show. Been a follower of World Crypto Network for a long time. It'd be great to see you over here, man.
Well, thanks so much. I'll definitely try to visit if I can, and we'll just keep working on these education everywhere. A lot of people ask, what can I do for Bitcoin? And maybe you're not a programmer, maybe you're not a big computer guy, but if you know how to use Bitcoin, and even if you know something like how to move your money to a Trezor, that's a great a bit of knowledge. That's a great skill. You can go out and show that to all your friends. If you could get them all to put like $100 in, put it on a Trezor, just see how it goes. I think that would be great for everybody. We just need more adoption, more people trying it, more people using it, and then eventually they'll find a way to fit it into their lives. It might not seem useful now, but there'll come a point in the future where they'll be like, I've got to use that Bitcoin, and it's a good thing you know how.
Well, we'll have to send you a digital Bitbox over, mate. Very popular here.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'd love to try one. I know Chris is there now, so I'm definitely interested in that company. So.
Working on the product stuff and pretty much encouraging, you know, everybody to try and run their own full node. Mm-hmm. As you know, Shift Devices has a couple of core developers on staff, including Jonas Schnelli. They're a great firm and they're great advocates for the technology. But I mean, Chris, Thomas, there's one thing I wanted to mention, that there's something pretty exciting happening in the crypto space now, is that, you know, the received wisdom in Bitcoin is to apply it to what you know. In my case, you know, I've worked in the automotive industry for 30 years, and there's a lot of interest in the automotive space in cryptocurrencies now, and how they can be used to integrate with connected and autonomous vehicles. So it's a really exciting time. You know, it was back in 2015 where I did my first talk on Bitcoin at a powertrain control symposium in Birmingham. There was just all of these professors sitting there with their jaws hanging down, wondering what the hell I was talking about. But now the scene's really taking off around automotive, and that's something that you might want to look at, because the potential for decentralized consensus networks, trustless peer-to-peer mechanisms to improve the security of connected and autonomous vehicles is huge, and it's going to be a really important area. So we're really excited that that's finally happening now. There's a group that started called Mobi, which is a sort of mobility and blockchain alliance. they haven't quite got past the, you know, we like blockchain, but we don't like Bitcoin yet. And that whole point about trying to explain that the underlying technology really is inspired by Bitcoin is the important aspect. But there's some really interesting and innovative approaches coming into the space now. And I think that'd be something that you might want to look at some point, maybe on your show. It would be really interesting because I think a lot of people are into cars, and there's a hell of a lot to do in terms of improving the security of vehicles. As you know, if you followed any of the stuff to do with the GPAC and so on, there's a lot of work to do there. So yeah, I'm excited about the space. It keeps on growing. It's great.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be a good topic. And we'll just ask the rest of the group here in the chat to see what they think about cars and Bitcoin. We'll try to explore that more. But thanks so much for giving us a call. And I hope I'll be able to visit England soon. Sounds fantastic.
Thanks, Thomas. Be great to see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And like you said, cars are an interesting field, an interesting idea for Bitcoin. What do you guys think? Autonomous cars. I know Lyft and Uber, many other companies are working on this, self-driving cars. But the idea there becomes a self-driving car that just comes and picks you up, not a car that you'd own. Suddenly you don't have to own a car anymore. Suddenly these companies just own all the cars. Then something else happens. Maybe individuals start buying cars, running this program on there, and pretty soon they are running their own version of Lyft or Uber. There's even a possibility that the car itself could earn money, and then someday the car could own itself, and the car could drive itself for Uber, and then we have autonomous, artificially intelligent cars or something. And if you want to learn more about that, you've got to check out the movie Hot Tub Time Machine 2. I'll bet no one's seen it. It's surprisingly futuristic. There's a ton of great stuff, including cars that are self-aware. The cars have made a deal with the United States so that the cars will now be treated like people because they're artificially aware and they're intelligent. And they can make their own money. And thanks to Bitcoin, all the cars can have a bank account. You used to say, my washing machine can't have a bank account, so it can't buy me soap. But now we can say, put a little bit of money in your washing machine's bank account. It'll buy its own soap. It'll buy its own maintenance. It'll schedule its own repair guy. I mean, that sounds fantastic. And we're not far away from that. What I think is most exciting about what the caller mentioned about blockchains and cars and Bitcoin is not just Lyft and Uber and replacing car ownership, but replacing Lyft and Uber. Truly decentralized cars just running themselves. Like if you were, rich enough to own a car, your car would probably drive you to work, drop you off at work, and then your car would go to work and your car would go out and earn money for you all day. Then it would come back and pick you up at work. How great is that? You could leave it plugged in overnight. Be fantastic. They say in the chat, you mean Disney cars. I think it would be like that. I think they'd be talking smart cars. And eventually, yeah, we might have to make a deal with them. Autonomous, intelligent, independent cars. So, of course, we were talking yesterday how bummed one of the caller was because he bought a car for his kid or something and he could have held the Bitcoin. I had the same feeling. I put a sticker on my car. I swear it must have been worth 0.2 Bitcoins at the time. It was like a $20 eBay order of, Bitcoin stickers and stuff back when nobody was making Bitcoin stickers and stuff. And I put it on the car, and the car is worth less than $500, probably ready to be donated to the children or the friend thing or whatever it is. They take cars or I'll sell it to some kid for $500 or something. But yeah, I'll know in my heart that the sticker is worth more. The sticker is worth more than the car. We had a question from Dorkmos. Thanks so much for the $10 super chat. Which miners could be considered the OPEC of Bitcoin? Bitmain and Bitmain. Bitmain has had an incredibly good position. They were in China. They designed very fast chips and they sold a lot of them. Last year, according to reports, they made more than $4 billion worth of profits. There are also questionable processes. There may be something called ASIC boost that allows Bitmain machines to mine at 30% faster than other machines. This might have been the reason that they forked off Bitcoin Cash and that they refused to support segregated witness. Segregated witness breaks their ASIC boost 30% advantage. So it's well worth it to them to to break it. So yeah, I would keep an eye on Bitmain. They are the biggest player in the world. I don't know if they would be an OPEC because OPEC is it's the Association of Petroleum Producing Countries, or whatever that is. And it's made up of many countries, Saudi Arabia, a variety of other oil producers. Really, it's just Bitmain. We could say that there's multiple countries and so forth. There's mining in Iceland, there's mining in Canada, but still most of the mining is done in China. Like a young Vitalik Buterin taught me at a convention years ago. He said, whenever you finish making a mining chip, the best thing to do is walk it across the street to your mining factory and turn it on and get it mining. If you ship a mining chip, you lose 50% of your value in the week that you're shipping it. That's how hot these chips are. That's how hot the competition is for Bitcoin mining. The minute the chip is done, you should start making money with it because it's starting to lose value already. They used to say that your brand new car lost 30% of the value after you drove it off the lot. And the same thing for your computer. Your computer would lose, tons of value as soon as you'd buy it. That's even more true for these ASIC chips. The competition, the difficulty level is always rising, and the ASIC chips always in competition. So they're saying in the chat that hopefully competition is coming in hot and heavy, that Bitmain is losing its grip. We've seen a Japanese company come out with their own chip, their own plan, and their CEO bravely said that he wants to battle Bitmain, that he's ready for it. He sees them as the competition, and he's ready to compete. So this is great news for the Bitcoin industry. We do need more miners, more mining companies spread out all over the world, maybe even put some miners in space. Hitesh says in the chat that he worked on Hot Tub Time Machine. Oh, that's a great movie. The original is actually a decent little comedy. The second one, I like more and more, mainly for the futurism. And I think that it's largely overlooked because it's such a ridiculous idea that they made a sequel to that ridiculous movie. And of course, John Cusack wouldn't be in the sequel. So that's a bummer. But still, funny movie, funny stuff. Little gross at times. Not saying it's the cleanest comedy, but I enjoyed it. We're keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin. It's 6,188. Looks like it's dropped to $6,085 before recovering to kind of the middle. Recently, it was at 6,353 before falling from, looks around 6,792 is a recent top. 6,085 is a recent low. Say in the chat that you should sell high and buy low. And why do people want to sell when it goes down? I think people are afraid that it's going to go down lower. So it's really about when you get this news. So you get the news, the Japanese exchange had a problem, we're down 9%. It might also just be that the chart said it's time to do this, that kind of thing, or some whale decided to sell, something like that. So you get that news, and then you say, well, what's the rest of the market going to do? And you say, well, they might sell. Oh, we lost him. Okay, well, give us a call back. Not sure what happened there, but you can give us a call again. So, but yeah, we don't know where the low is. No one knows where the low is. So there's people out there looking at this 6,100 thinking, I'll get back at 5,000. I'll get back at 4,000. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Thomas, it's Ricardo. Bonjour, it's Paris.
Bonjour. How's it going in Paris?
It's good, man. Actually, I was watching the market. I got in really late last night from work, and it was going up, and I was super excited. But then I woke up this morning just randomly, super early, and it had dropped pretty rapidly. And I think when I saw that happen, I was a bit bummed, but at the same sense, part of me like really got excited because I've been watching it, and my paycheck drops any minute, so I've been waiting to buy in. And I think that there's two people. I think there's people that are worried and stressing out. When should I sell? When should I sell? And there's the optimists who are, okay, this is great for if I'm buying in right now rather than when it's going to be up at 9,000. So I kept looking back at it, and it was literally at 9,000 at the beginning of April. So, or at the mid-April, I believe. This isn't much of a fluctuation if you think about it.
It's not that bad, but just be sure not to put your whole paycheck in. Like,
No, I
it-
never do. I usually put in like my tips, and I always like 20% of whatever I make. But even that I even break down. So if I'm putting in like $100, I usually do like on Coinbase I'd buy in at like $20. Um, but yeah, it was for me. I'm excited to see it drop again because anytime it can go below 6,500 is a huge kicker for me, because when I got in, I didn't decide to get in until the end of November of last year. So it was the 29th when I first bought in. And if you look at the prices now compared to then, it's just way below. So I'm excited personally, especially if you see what happened in December and that happened in 1 month and you see it going up that fast, you can literally take your ROI in really quick and then save it for a rainy day when you need to dollar cost average again and just double the money again.
well, the real key here is that you need to be ready to buy again in a month if it hits 5,500, and you need to be ready to buy again in a month if it hits 4,000, and be ready to buy again in a month if it hits 3,000. I mean, I know everyone they like this downturn, and they all like to say that I'm ready to buy in the downturn and all that, but you got to be ready 3 levels below this, and you have to be mentally ready to say that the buy that I made 3 weeks ago is now a bad buy, but I'm going to keep buying, and I'm going to keep buying at my set price that's not too much money, so I don't invest my whole paycheck, and so that I can be cool if it goes down, and I can have other things to do, and you have a job. Like, everyone needs to be having a backup plan at this point. I mean, I know what they're saying in the chat. They're like, it'll go to 5K, then it'll go to 10K. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. And they say 3 years from now I'll be rich, and yeah, that'd be great. Let's make it through. Let's make it through that. So.
Yeah, it is a bit of rough water. And as I'm watching this, I was talking about this a while back on TradingView. It's a great platform for multiple people to, for you to watch multiple traders at a time. And I even see people that I follow on Twitter that are politicians who follow people on TradingView that I follow. So that's quite interesting. It's always interesting when you follow somebody that's pretty influential in the world and they're following somebody as well, and they have a limited number of followers. So that's kind of cool. But
So, what are they saying now on TradingView? Are they mainly bearish? What would you say percentage wise? Is it like 9 out of 10 bearish, or is it better? Is it worse?
yeah, I think TradingView is pretty bearish. They're pretty optimalists, and they have got they're not. It just depends on the person you're following. But if you follow on Twitter, everybody's really pessimistic. So, and I believe that the majority of the people who don't know what's going on in the crowd are really pessimistic because they don't realize how much push is behind this. And a little bit ago, you were talking about your washing machine and buying soap, and all of your things at home, all of electronics being somewhat put that they've got a consciousness because of the AI, whatever it's called, the AI chip.
The
So
definite possibility, not just in Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
no, and if that catches on, let me tell you, one of those things catches on, like Samsung puts it in and all of it. Well, they probably, I know there's this chip called the Tyler chip, which is be able to, it's a backdoor to like pretty much anything that's been created since 1960 something. Don't quote me on that. And that was in America, and that was research that it wasn't even on the books. But what I'm saying is that if everything gets this chip put into it, and eventually that catches on, that's going to create a huge rush for Bitcoin, and not even on the person like on the market for buying, but just in the platform of artificial intelligence for to utilize that. So people are going to buy that. So like, okay, well now I'm going to stock up my TV, so I never have to, I don't know, pay for anything. It's just all on my TV account, and my TV pays for the electricity, and it pays for the natural gas or whatever it might be, or your solar panels are starting to pay for your, I don't know, your.
Well, my refrigerator could order milk for me. That's the one that I want. The milk container gets low, new milk arrives.
You have a small cow built into your kitchen. It's gonna be weird. But so what I say, so if one of these things catches on, yeah, it's gonna go postal, it's gonna go mental. But with the price right now, I think people just sit back. And you said something earlier a minute ago about having a plan. Always have a plan, stick to it. Even if you make the mistake, at least you can say, I was there and I made that mistake, and next time you can be somewhere else, or you can stick to that decision because maybe this time it's ready for it. So the price is going to change a lot, but as I'm looking at it, as I was saying about TradingView, is even if you just watch CoinMarketCap or that other website that has Bitcoin charts, has all of the markets just constantly flashing, which is something I constantly just watching. It's almost like some big players are dropping specifically when the market is either closing or opening based off of American and the Chinese market. And the European market doesn't seem to fluctuate as much. It seems more like a seller's market, but it seems like the big markets are buyer's market, and it's very volatile when the big markets come in. So it's interesting.
Good stuff, man. Well, thanks so much for the call, and give us a call anytime.
Have a good weekend. Cheers, man.
All right. Au revoir. My terrible French accent. I do every language. I do it badly. I'm decent on English though. I'm pretty decent on English. Thanks so much to Mustafa in the chat. He gave us $9.99. Says he can sell when you can to buy a Coke for Satoshi. So very cool. They're talking in the chat. They're saying, will appliance slavery be an issue? What if your refrigerator sells your oven and a new one shows up? And I could see that definitely being a problem. I'm reminded of all those movies where the appliances talk, things like the Bravest Little Toaster, things like that, where there's talking appliances. And I could see how the new appliances that are smart appliances could discriminate against the old appliances and even try to get them sent out of the house. Why would the smart refrigerator be happy with a dumb oven? They'd much rather have a smart oven they could talk to, and they could order things for each other and so forth. I think there's a lot of ideas there, not just for cool science fiction books and movies, but for actual things that will happen in our lifetimes. I do think the fridge will order you milk. I think the fridge will tell you when your food is rotten. I think it's amazing. There's all kinds of things that they're going to do, and they're going to do automatically. Uber announced a new program yesterday, and they didn't say how it works, but I have an idea. They had this little thing where the lady was wearing a white dress and her friend was wearing a red ball cap, and it communicated to the Uber driver in text, white dress, red ball cap. And what I think Uber is going to do is, rather than take a picture of you, and everyone hates having their picture taken, they have to look perfect, all that kind of stuff, then I think the better way to do that Uber is going to do is they're going to take a picture of you, whether you know it or not, and not show it to you. Then the AI is going to scan that photo, and it's going to say, oh, he's wearing a Giants hat, or, oh, she's wearing a blue shirt. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. How's it going?
Hey, Thomas, this is Mustafa calling back.
Welcome back, Mustafa. How's it going on the road today? Where'd you make it to today?
I'm in right on the Mexican border, actually.
All right, keeping it moving. An exciting place these days. A lot of news coming out from that area.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to call in and talk a little bit more about investing in Bitcoin and using it as a savings. I see a lot of people in the chat saying, oh, I need to sell, I need to take some profits before the price goes to 5,000 or whatever it is. And there's a lot of uncertainty today, right? Because the price is dropping. And I understand where you're coming from, and where people that are in your situation are coming from, where your main source of income is coming in Bitcoin, and you live off of Bitcoin. So yeah, of course you have to sell some of it. You need to survive. But my advice is for people that are in my situation, that have a day job, get paid in their fiat currency still, and they're just buying Bitcoin, right? They're not earning those people, and I think the best thing to do, or in my opinion, is to just use Bitcoin as your savings, as your long-term savings, right? Your retirement plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my 30s. I'm probably going to be working for another 30 years, so I don't really think I'm going to sell any Bitcoin until then. And I'll keep it. and like I said when I put the comment in the chat, is I'm not gonna sell Bitcoin until I can buy something for 1 Satoshi. Like when 1 Satoshi is like $1 or 50 cents at least, that's when I'll be like, yeah, sure. Now it's worth it for me to sell, for me to use it, you know, because now I got a whole bunch of it, you know.
I do think so, and it makes a difference. Although if it does go crazy up again, I'm going to be on this whole. We should all be taking a small amount of profits the whole time. I like holding. I like hodl. I think it's a cool like a meme and a strategy, and it's a good club when it's going up. But it's a bad club when it's going down. And I think the only way we can fix that is by making it a club that takes profits on the way up. So hodl, take 1%, take 2%. Let's get some small
agree with
amounts
you,
out.
but not 100%. Just because, for example, if in a few months the Bitcoin price shoots up to 25,000 and you sell 1 Bitcoin because you wanted to take a little profit, and then a month later it goes to 40, you're gonna be like, well, damn it, you know, I just missed out on 15 grand, you know, and you know, eventually it'll come back down, it'll do its thing, and it'll go down to 10 or whatever, and then you might feel good about your sell at 25, or you might feel bad about your buy at 33, and you know, it's a cycle, it'll repeat itself. All I'm saying is, if you can afford to wait, if you can afford to hold, if it's not your primary source of income and you don't need it to survive today, you know, don't look right down at your feet, and look way down at the end of the road, you know. And I think that's good advice.
Definitely, Mustafa. And I think holding for long term, thinking of it as a long term investment. A lot of problems that my friends have is they'll have you know, a little bit in Bitcoin, a little bit in a savings account. They'll have a good job, maybe even have a little bit in stocks and bonds. But when something goes wrong, they sell the Bitcoin first. No matter what it is, like they don't need the money. Everything else is fine. They're like, oh, Bitcoin went down, I'm out. And that's a good way to not have any profits in 5 years. Whereas if you can say right now, I got a good job, I got a good savings, I invested reasonably, and I want to see what happens in 2 years, or I want to see what happens in 5 years. Set yourself a time schedule. Be like, oh, in 5 years, if it's this, I'll do that. In 5 years, if it's that, I'll do this. You know, have a schedule, have a plan. If your 5-year plan, if you reach your goal in 2 years, you need to reconfigure your plan. So just have it like, I'd have 2 sides. One is time based and one is dollar based. So it goes up to X amount. You're going to be like, that's cool. I'm going to get a house, or I'm going to get a car. Or I'm going to pay off my debt, something like that. If it goes up to a crazy amount, maybe you're going to put some in savings. Maybe you're going to put some in stocks or some bonds or something. I mean, just start diversifying as it goes up. And then this way we won't have to worry as much if it goes down. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with that. You know, I was never really an investing type person, but last year when the price went up a little bit, you know, I did start investing in other things. But I'm the opposite of your friends. You know, whenever the price starts going down or the markets start going down, stocks and whatever, I sell everything else except for Bitcoin. You know, because I'm like, oh, the Bitcoin price is going down. It's a better time to buy. Let me try to get some money out from anything else that is questionable, because I believe in this more than anything else, you know, and I think most of the listeners do as well.
Definitely. And I think age is another important part of this. You're a young man. You've got a lot of time to go. You have no problem waiting for this investment. If this investment goes well, you'll be great. If it doesn't go well, you still got time. You can work. You can earn it back. It's not such a problem. If you're an older gentleman, you might be in a stressful situation, not knowing what to do. But once again, just taking profits on the way up, covering yourself on the way down. This is a better strategy. This is what I want to suggest to people.
That's true.
In the future.
That's true. I've ran that scenario in my head a few times. You know, the possibility of Bitcoin going to zero or whatever, and what would I do? And honestly, I mean, it wouldn't really be worth it to sell your Bitcoins if they went down to like $50 or something. You know, I mean, what's that gonna do? Nothing. You know, like you're gonna, let's say you have 10 Bitcoin or 20 Bitcoin and you sell them for $50 each because it's crashing to zero. I mean, you're gonna get what, $500 or $1,000? Like, you might as well just let that go as well and make it.
And I think this is also why a lot of people invest in the altcoins. You know, you might be getting in on Bitcoin too late, and the multiplier might not be high enough for you to make as much money as you want to make. So you might have to take more risks in those altcoins. But if you really want something that could go to zero, those altcoins, some of them are gone. So it's not impossible, but they do go crazy up. And if you can ride that and you can get some profit out of that, a lot of people do that to get more Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's true. I invest in altcoins as well. I don't know if I would really call it investing. It's more of a gamble. You know, and that's the one where I would definitely tell somebody, don't, you know, just take whatever extra money you're willing to just throw away. You know, this is your strip club fund basically is the money that you can use for altcoins, because that's it's completely speculative and you have no idea what's happening behind the doors, closed doors, you know.
And just to do it with percentages as well. So if you have some money that's set aside for investing and you want to put, you know, $100 or $1,000 into Bitcoin, you could put 10% of that, put $100 in the altcoins. You could put 20%, you could put $200 in the altcoins. Just make a decision like that, make your percentages and see how they go. Sometimes your altcoins might go up and you might have more money in altcoins than in Bitcoin. And it might be time to sell some of those altcoins and move it back to Bitcoin. The same way your Bitcoin might go up. You might think you have too much money in Bitcoin, move some back to altcoins. Also good to move some into some USD or some kind of real savings if you don't have that. Let's have a little bit in each pile. This way we'll all be safer in the future.
Right. And I don't know if this is true or not. This is just my opinion that I've seen in the past year or two. Whenever the price of Bitcoin starts going up, the altcoins explode. And whenever the price of Bitcoin starts going down, the altcoins crash like insanely bad. So I wouldn't recommend putting any money into altcoins now, just because the Bitcoin price is declining. I would wait until the Bitcoin price starts going back up and is looking a little bit healthier, and then maybe take 10% and choose your, or, you know, randomly choose your favorite altcoin and invest in that one or whatever it is. But not right now, for sure.
Yeah, definitely the same thing. We're looking for the bottom in Bitcoin, and they're really looking for the bottom in alts. So hang on.
Yep. Well, that's all I really wanted to say, man. Keep up with the show. I know you're always putting up your BTC donations thing. I don't really like giving out Bitcoin, but I'll send you some more tips on the YouTube, and maybe join your Patreon or something.
That sounds great. Thanks so much, Mustafa, for the call. Give us a call anytime. It's super fun to have some regular callers on this show. It's starting to feel like real talk radio out here.
Right. For sure, man. For sure. I'll keep it too. I'll keep
Very
calling.
cool. Thanks so much. Have a good day. Stay safe.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much, Mustafa. And you can give us a call anytime on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one words. If you've got a question or a comment on Bitcoin, maybe have your opinion on it. Thanks so much to Full-Time Geek in the chat. He gave us a couple super chats here for $10. He says the #1 blockchain with the most transaction volume is Steam. Bitcoin would explode if it went mainstream, which it can't due to scalability. Well, I agree with the first part. I'm sure Steam does have a lot of transaction volume. He said earlier that he likes people that hodl Steam. I'm still hodling a little bit of Steam from my welcome to Steam post, introduce yourself, from like 2 years ago. I did very well on that post. You can go look it up on Mad Bitcoin's Steemit account. You can follow me there. I think Steemit's a cool project, although I think it's mainly a cool project for authors and people that write stuff. I don't know about investing in it. I know it has gone up in value, but I don't know how long that's going to last. And I don't know how many people want to buy a coin just so they can vote and have their vote be worth money. But I think it's a very cool site. If you make blog posts or anything like that, you can make a little money on Steemit. I just don't know if people should buy it. So, but good luck to Steam. Good luck to Steemit. Had a great time on that website. Initially, I was getting like maybe a couple bucks a post. Now I'm getting 10 cents a post. So it goes down pretty fast. But it was a cool site back in the day, and definitely appreciate all my followers and everybody that checks out my Steemit posts. I need to do some more in a little bit. But we're keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin, which is $6,179. For a little bit, it was back in the 6,200s. It seems to be trading flat or sideways at the moment. But if we look at these cascading waterfall downs, it still doesn't look that great. A lot of people in the chat were putting their bets in for the bottom. They're saying it could go 6K, 5K, 4K, or even 3K. So a lot of people are hanging on. Jeremy asks when Amazon will accept Steam. I don't know. Is it cold in hell? I'm not even sure Amazon's going to accept Bitcoin. Amazon has a great thing going with the credit card companies. They have no reason to change. They have the Amazon store card. You can get a 5% discount. My stuff gets here almost overnight every time. I have nothing that I'm waiting for that came from Amazon. It's all here. It's a fantastic company. They're just killing it. I read that book about Amazon. I think it was called The Perfect. Well, I confuse it with the eBay title. I think the Amazon book was called The Everything Store. The eBay book was called The Perfect Store. But Bezos is just a fascinating guy. He was a child genius. He was heavily into Star Trek. I think he's building these spaceships and so forth because he personally wants to go to space. I think he personally wants to live inside of Star Trek. And I think that's fantastic. Yeah, Amazon, they also have this thing where they write the press release first. So if they come out with a new product like the Kindle, they would write a press release about how easy it makes reading and how it glows in the dark and works underwater. And these are all great selling points. And they would write that press release before they make the product. So they know why they're making the thing that they're making. Very smart idea, very smart company. Not a place I'd like to work. They talk about in the book that they burn everybody out and that they try to grind you down and that they just kind of wreck all their employees. And all their employees go to other companies later where they're very happy because they don't have to work as hard or as much. But the Amazon employees are grinding it hard. So that's what's making the company magical. In exchange, they get stock options, and maybe they can retire on those stock options. That's their version of Bitcoin. So keeping an eye on the chat. People are working on projects. We smoke Bitcoins as a professional weed smoker, not an amateur. Let's see. They say is tired of leading horses to water that don't want to drink. Yeah, it can be tough. Everybody kind of gets their own bag of an altcoin, and then they go around trying to promote their altcoin, and they just look like bag holders. And it's really hard. I mean, you want to support some kind of new idea and you think it's really exciting. There's no better way than get yourself a bag of it and then go around telling people to buy it so that your bag becomes bigger. So that's happened quite a lot. So it's not a new thing for us. People were shilling Litecoin back in the day. Feathercoin, Megacoin, Terracoin, Earthcoin, Primecoin, Peercoin. Maybe you guys should go look up some of these coins because they're all dead. They're all dead. Okay, can someone show me the problem with DGB? Okay, as a Bitcoin maximalist, there's not so much a problem with altcoins. The problem is you're comparing them with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is up here at the top. It's 99% of all things. Bitcoin has survived for years, right? Years and years and years. So whatever your new coin is, it's less than 1% compared to Bitcoin. So if you're trying to make that comparison, it better be really good. If it's not really good, your altcoin is less than 1% and it's going down. The only ones so far that have even gotten close to challenging Bitcoin would be Ethereum. And it took a lot of marketing money and a lot of corporations to do that. So as far as Digibyte, I know very little about them. I know they had a giveaway. They gave Bitcoins away to people that had Bitcoin. So it was kind of like forked off of Bitcoin. I know that they have marketing money and engineers and stuff. They're going to build some kind of product. But the problem is it's probably going to be mostly hype and it's going to pale in the face of Bitcoin. That's why a lot of people just buy alts, get them to go up, and then they dump them for Bitcoin. No one really cares. The altcoins are they're just many, many degrees smaller than Bitcoin. They're interesting projects, but many degrees smaller. They're also saying, what about Steam? Well, Steemit was designed with a very fascinating and confusing 3-coin model. One of the coins they give to you and you can hold it or sell it. One of the coins is a dollar-backed coin, and then the third coin is some kind of other interest or dollar-backed coin. So there's a complicated 3-coin process there that I don't know. A lot of these processes, you make them difficult so that people won't understand it and they won't know how to invest and they'll be confused. So that's one of the big problems. It's also kind of been blown up as a big thing that's supposed to be a big thing. But once again, they just printed their own money. They printed their own money, then they're paying their people with the money. No, there's 3 coins. There's Steam, there's Steam-backed dollars, and then there's another coin. If you go to the wallet page, it'll show you all 3. And it's super, yeah, Steam Power, Steam that's locked up. Yeah, see, you can't even explain it. Oh, so you get Steam and then you lock it up to become Steam Power, and then your votes mean something. Or you can power down to get money. It's complicated, man. Anything that's complicated, there's a reason they're doing that, and it's not to make it simpler and easier to use. The core of it, they printed their own money. Now they're paying bloggers on their platform with their own money. The problem always starts when you print your own money. So, and then, yeah, the founder of Steam left and he went to some other project, and that's kind of his MO. That's what he does. So, expect him to leave EOS soon and go to another project. Jeremy gets it. The project is purposely confusing so you can't find the actual value. So yeah, I would say that. That's great. There's grandparents using it. That's you can't have single evidence. Like, you need to have a study. Like, I can say, yeah, my cousin uses it. That doesn't mean anything. Like, you have to have a study. So yeah, you're not going to be able to convince me in the Steam here with just words. And I like Steam. They're talking about how someone has just won or lost their bet. And I would just warn people, if you're supposed to be a journalist and you're making a bet on Bitcoin, it's very clear you're not a journalist anymore. You're a gambler. And anything that you say doesn't have that kind of middle of the road advice quality to it. It now has gambling advice to it, because you have a hand in the game now. You have a reason for the market to go up or down, a public gambling reason. So I think it's unfortunate when people that are supposed to be covering this space make large bets on this space. I think that whoever wins, they'll both lose their integrity. And I think that's far more important than a monetary bet. I think it's better to have integrity. So everyone can make their own choice how much their integrity is worth, how much they're willing to wager it for, how much they're willing to buy someone else's integrity. But everyone that's involved will become weaker for it. So it is unfortunate. Don't gamble on stories that you're supposed to be covering if you want to be taken seriously. Say somebody's grandma uses MySpace. Oh, MySpace must be the thing. That's anecdotal evidence. That's a single person. So if it was a science experiment, and you said, my cousin took that and he got sick, well, I guess we'd cancel the whole medical program. But we wouldn't. We would do science. So we give it to 100 people. Then we do the percentages on how many of them got sick. Then we'd say, hey, only 3% got sick. This is good medicine. That's how we do science. If you bring me an individual example, I'm going to tell you again, that's not how we do science. It's very cool. Your grandma's into Steam. Anecdotal. I don't know how to say it, but you know what I'm saying. It's the same thing. But how can it be peer-to-peer if you can't get to the page? Well, Steam, it says that they publish their information on some kind of blockchain, and that you could have some kind of a blockchain explorer to to have a block. Oh shit, I pushed the wrong button. Oh well, fuck it. But you could have some kind of a blockchain, and you could read the blockchain, and it's supposed to be censorship resistant and all these things. But really, it's a centralized server. It's centralized. They use their server. The blockchain thing's a backup. It's something so you can say that it's censorship resistance. Oh, you could get upvotes and get paid for Steam in this broadcast. Okay, so I have broadcast things on Steam. I get like 10 cents a post. You guys gotta support people. It's nonsense. Again, you gotta go to YouTube. You gotta go where the people are. It's not centralized, dude. Go to steemit.com. It's centralized. You're just embarrassing yourself now. Yeah, it's not centralized because we publish it on a blockchain that no one uses. Good. Come on. And they're talking about other things now. It's getting pretty scammy in the chat today. Might have to move on here. I think we had some good calls today. Everyone could call us on Skype, World Crypto Network. We'll try to keep this open a little bit longer, but we're probably going to move towards the little book reading and the end of the show. Remember, we do have the Bitcoin group coming up today at 1 o'clock p.m. That's not too long from now. So it's good to take a little break in between. We are watching the price of Bitcoin. It's 6,144. Seems to be stair-stepping downward. We saw a little bit of 6,200, but it was short-lived. And now it seems to be falling again. I guess that's about it for the callers today. So we're going to move on to a quick reading of To Satoshi with Love, with some of my friends on Twitter are calling Para Satoshi con Amor. Very cool. And a quick recap of what's happened so far. Satoshi Nakamoto may or may not be a pink space alien who crashed his Ethereum-shaped spaceship into John Front's house. He met John Front's friend Mara, who works at Chain River, and he attempted to prove to her that he is the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto. She was not convinced, and then had Satoshi code for her. They were competing with each other and coding happily at Workshop Cafe in San Francisco when Barbara showed up. Barbara, a YouTuber of her own, is very caustic and very excited and hates John Front. Barbara breaks into the scene and exposes Satoshi to be a real pink alien live on national television. She tries to pull his head off, and nothing happens. And that's where we're picking up the story. Also, Donald Trump is involved. This book was written in November 2016 while he was being elected, and he's trying to crack down on Bitcoin. He doesn't like it one bit. So here it is, To Satoshi with Love. And I'm just going to read a little section. You wouldn't think Barbara's channel would have a lot of reach. I was telling the truth earlier when I said that no one watched it. But this, however, was different. This time she had a scoop. The retweets were astonishing. If you build a better mousetrap, they say the world will beat a path to your door. Satoshi built a better currency. And the second part, I know to be true. We hightailed it home after that, but Barbara was not far behind, broadcasting the whole way. Her numbers growing the whole time. I hear it's one of the highest rated Uber rides in history. We rushed inside, barricaded the door, and Mara and Satoshi immediately went back to coding on their project. They'd been at it for hours now. I don't even think they noticed me blocking out all the windows, disabling the doorbell, and generally preparing for World War III. The Ethereum-shaped spaceship sticking out of the roof was quickly a topic of conversation on the national news and a local landmark for the tourists. Ocean Beach has never been this busy. I hoped the fog and bad weather would keep them away, but they seem to have set up camp, and I don't think they're leaving. People of Earth, people of America, we got a big problem here. I told you about Bitcoin before, but now we've got aliens. We got aliens meddling in the affairs of this country. You all saw it. You heard it on the news. A space alien invented Bitcoin, and he's here. He's here, ladies and gentlemen. What does he want? I don't know. What does alien want? He probably wants to eat our brains. Do you think some pink-skinned alien eating your brains, deciding where our money comes from? Is that what you want? Now, I know a lot of you have been curious. You heard the news and you thought, why, I sure would like to try out that Bitcoin. First alien invention and all that, but let me tell you, no good will come from it. That Bitcoin is the devil's money, and you don't need a pink-skinned alien from some other wackadoo planet to tell you that. Don't use it. Don't try it. Don't you dare. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what we're going to do. You all do your part. You vote on Tuesday, and I'll do my part. We'll track down these Bitcoin people and their alien co-conspirators. We'll track them down, and we'll stop them. How goes the media situation, big boy? She said with a smile, but my response was none too sunny. Still camped out outside, still endless speculation on every channel, and Donald Trump has personally come out against Bitcoin and seems to be calling for its eradication because it's alien. Maybe we could just build a wall around Bitcoin. He does love walls, I said, grinning. However, in other news, we are running low on food, and I don't think a pizza guy could make it through that gauntlet. We're the ones behind the wall. Got a plan for that. A friend is coming with a van. A friend with a van? I made 70s porno music sounds. Bow, bow, bow. Not like that. Not really a friend either, but he has a van. How goes the code? It's amazing, she said. Did you hear that? She says I'm amazing, Satoshi echoed from across the room. Just wanted to make sure you're listening. Amazing. Yes, you're amazing. I get it. What did you amazing heads do? We rewrote the algorithm using Satoshi's plan, and now the whole system actually works. What system? You guys never really told me what you were working on, by the way. That's kind of rude. It was my house he crashed into, you know. Yes, I know. I've seen the Ethereum, but the crash is old news. What Satoshi has done this time, it's really amazing. It's insane, really. Slow down. Try to explain it to me. Use your words. You know how Chain River has been working on sidechains for months now? Sure, sidechains. The idea that you could use computational power of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin blockchain, to power other projects. Use it for research, data storage, creating alternative currencies. Almost an endless number of applications. Satoshi has done it. The algorithm was the final link. I was having the hardest time with it, and now I know why. I was looking at it from the wrong direction. From the starting point we chose at Chain River, we might never have reached our goal. It was only when I changed my viewpoint and listened to Satoshi that I made any progress at all. Her phone started vibrating. Yeah, we're in here. I'll open up the garage, you drive in and we'll close it. Yes, I know it's not the best solution, but it's what we've got. Hurry up. He's here, she said. Yes, I know. She glanced over at Satoshi. You ready? He had the new Chromebook from earlier and the power adapter. As far as I knew, those were his only possessions besides the strange USB key and his black trench coat. You coming with us? She glanced at me. I grabbed my own laptop and slid it into my backpack. There was no way I was getting left behind on this adventure. A horn honked outside. That's him. Everybody get ready. She went out in the garage, and a second later we heard the sound of the door coming up, a car driving in, and the door going back down. I peeked out the door to see if the coast was clear, and she was ready. Derek was in the van behind the wheel. Satoshi and I climbed in the back seat. Derek, always a pleasure. Satoshi, this is Derek. Derek, Satoshi. John, likewise, he said. He didn't like me either. Satoshi, love your work. A pleasure to be involved, even if you did crash into the wrong house. Thanks, Satoshi said, buckling his seat and getting ready. Mara pushed the button to open the garage door, and Derek started backing out. The press was lining up along both sides of the van, pushing and clawing to get their way to the front of the crowd to get the best shot. Mara pushed the garage door closed again, and the media crush was all around us. Derek kept driving slowly, and they kept moving. Soon we made it to the street, and we were off. What about Mara? I said. She's going to run out the back and meet us at the office. She can't wait to get this code running, and frankly, neither can I. He spoke up to reach Satoshi in the back seat. Very impressed by your work, Mr. Satoshi, both past and present. Truly inspiring stuff. Thank you, Satoshi said. We'll talk more at the office, but maybe we can get you on contract. We've got a great crew, you know. Most of the Bitcoin core developers are on our team, Derek said. But not all of the Bitcoin developers, Satoshi said. Not all, but most. You should look into it. You just might be surprised. We have a great benefits package as well. We pulled up into a large parking structure, and Derek rolled down his window and slapped his key card against the plate. You could see the sadness of the press's face behind us as we pulled into the private secured garage. They had reached another dead end. Now they just had a bigger building to surround, and surround it they would. Let's see, how much longer? All right, here we go. I'll keep going. One more page. Derek pulled into a spot that said, reserved for Chain River. It also happened to be right by the elevator door. We're here. Chain River is on the 14th floor of this building. We have the whole suite. Nobody's here, just us with Mara on her way. Should be no trouble in the building because it's Sunday. We followed Derek to the elevators. At every doorway, he had to flash his badge, but doors kept opening and we kept moving forward. I was relieved to be out of the house, but it was starting to get cabin fever. But I was hungry. Derek pressed the button for up, flashed his badge once more, and we were on his way. Hey, Derek, I said, breaking the awkward silence. What are we going to do for food? Well, now that we're out of the cramped quarters of your cul-de-sac, we can just have pizza, Chinese, Mexican, sandwiches, whatever you want. We can have it delivered. Actually, forget you. It's Satoshi's choice. The elevator dinged and we reached the Chain River floor. It was bright white like the space station in 2001, and expensive. Fancy chairs, fancy desk lights, and a glass wall separating a large server room from the main floor. The funny thing was you couldn't even hear the servers. It was soundproof so well. It was a really impressive office. Nice digs, I said. Oh, you've never been here? Derek smiled. He knew I'd never been invited. Nope, really nice, I said. Are those your servers? Satoshi said, in a hurry to get to work as usual. That's them, the pride of the fleet. We've got some Bitcoin miners, some altcoin miners, a few Ethereum miners. Ethereum is an altcoin, Satoshi interrupted. Yeah, sure, but it's so much more than that, Derek said. Satoshi waved his hand dismissively, and Derek got the message. I can't open up the servers until Mara gets here. She has all the logins you'll need. Can I offer you guys a soda or anything? Call up a pizza? We have a great couch and the newest Call of Duty. It's really great. No fooling. Really great. We'll wait, Satoshi said. And that's it for a quick reading of To Satoshi with Love, a little novel that I wrote last year during National Novel Writing Month. I think it's fun. I'm glad you guys are sticking with it. Remember, you can always donate some Bitcoin to support this show to the QR code on your screen right now or in the description below. Or you could sign up for the Patreon campaign. Yesterday, we were talking if 1,000 people signed up at the Patreon campaign at $5 a piece, that would be $5,000 a month. I'd never have to fundraise again. It would be amazing. Or if one person signed up at $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month, whatever it is. Anyway, you guys know what it's like. Thanks for supporting independent content creators. Give us a thumbs up and a share. Be sure to subscribe down below, and we'll be back later today with the Bitcoin group at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, bye-bye.